want to weigh in on the standoff between Ada Ameh and Kemi Olunloyo. Kemi Olunloyo is a 57-year-old woman who describes herself as an investigative journalist. She's somebody who has spent a good deal of her time outside Nigeria. She claims to have worked with a number of prominent international stations. These claims have been called to question in the past. And Kemi is this kind of person who always errs on the side of controversy. Whatever story is out there, if there's a controversial angle to it, you can rest assured that is where you'll find Kemi. For my part, I'm very cynical when it comes to her matter. I see her as somebody who is, who will stop at nothing to generate views and to stay relevant. There's this saying that any publicity is better than none. So, and unfortunately, when news is concerned, bad publicity tends to garner far more traction than good news. So it tends to be amplified. So for those who don't have qualms, people who don't, allow things to bother them, in fact, I know of quite a number of so-called influencers who have intentionally generated scandalous stories around themselves just to get extra eyes on them. These things are done. They are some of the strategies that people use to gain traction so that they can remain in your consciousness and keep spewing rubbish. So Kemi Olunloyo weighed in on the Sylvester Oromoni death from a perspective that most people were aghast when they heard. She suggested that Sylvester, who was 12 years old when he was killed, had agreed to be initiated into the cult or the fraternity, which till now we don't know the name of that cult or fraternity, but that he had agreed to be initiated and take part in the initiation rites, which included the beatings that were meted out on him and then drinking whatever noxious substance it was he was given to drink. It is being said that it was engine oil. Autopsy reports will tell us more. So that's one point, that he agreed to all of that. The next point was that he went as far as describing his sister's private parts as part of the initiation ceremony. The parents have not hidden the fact that all their children went to that school. That many parents do that. If one child goes to a certain school and they find that the experience has been worthwhile, they send other children there too. For one thing, many schools have some kind of discount that they offer, to parents who have more than one child in their institution and so on and so forth. Plus, you want the older ones to be able to keep an eye out on the younger ones, and it makes sense. So, these young men who were involved in the initiation ceremony, who ended up beating Sylvester to a pulp and putting him in his grave. I think it would not be far-fetched to say that maybe some of them, or one of them at least, was interested in having something to do with Sylvester's sister. Otherwise, I do not understand why such a conversation would ever have come up as part of any kind of initiation rite. Be that as it may, whatever the motives were for asking him to describe his sister's privates, we're told that he did. Now, Kemi is not the first person I've heard that from. There are stories like that, just seeping out here and there, and so on and so forth. And in fact, when the main story came out that he got beaten when he was resisting attempts to be initiated into a cult, the first thing that went through my mind was, what a brave kid. Either very brave or very naive. Because for my part, and I think for most people, if I find myself surrounded by 5 people who don't mean me well, and I look around and there's no support system, I don't have any way of protecting myself, I will say literally whatever they want me to say so that I'll get out of trouble. Or to minimize whatever nonsense they want to do to me, I'll just cooperate with them. So for my part, I think it is plausible that out of a sense of self-preservation, that child may have agreed to whatever it was the boy said he should do. I do not think for even 1 minute that this agreement, and this is purely hypothetical, there's nothing to prove that he ever agreed to anything. But in the event that it comes out that he agreed to anything, it's evident that it's because he was in a tight spot and he was being coerced and bullied into agreeing with something that he ordinarily would never have been a part of. That is not the slant Kemi was putting on it. She was making it seem as if it was something the young man wanted to do anyway, and it just went bad. Naturally, most people who are, halfway near human are incensed by that take. Ada Ameh, who is a prominent Nollywood actress and who lost a grown-up daughter to ill health. Her daughter was already in her 30s, her only child, the child of her youth, the child she had when she herself didn't yet know her left from right. She was a very young lady when she had that girl. So that child had grown up to become her friend, her companion. This woman has also lost a child. So I can understand where Ada's pain was coming from when she encountered what Kemi said.
Good evening, everybody. Wetin they call this woman named Kemi, wetin they call, and way they call himself investigative journalist. This woman be like say you dey craze. No be like you are a mentally derailed human being. You dey mad. What kind of animal are you? What do you take? What kind of cheap drugs? Like fancy, Jesus. You must be a mad woman. And I think you need medical attention. This your madness is getting too much. You need to be beaten. A woman that has been through labor room, how can you come out and say rubbish? For even to somebody who is dead. Yeah, you say Yawereni. She crazy ni. Kilo man shenyi. What is wrong with you?
She took it personal. And I understand completely. You could see that this woman is distraught. And the thing is, if you are a human being, you don't need to be a parent. You don't need to have buried even one child to empathize with the Oromoni family. Nobody sends their child to school hoping that that child will come back in a body bag. Nobody. And I'm seeing online that in retaliation, Kemi is saying things about bringing in the United States government and, said some nasty things about Ada's late daughter and things like that. For the avoidance of doubt, I support Ada Ameh's stance on this matter completely. Because some people will be wondering if I'm not, this is not one of those stories where I'm trying to stay neutral. I'm completely on Ada's side for calling out Kemi and warning her that this is not the right time. There's the way things are done, and this is not the way to do this particular one. It's wrong. Don't do it. And I stand with the Oromoni family. I feel bad for the family of the 5 boys. Because as a parent myself, I can imagine the agony, the trauma of your child getting involved in that kind of thing. Some of the parents, I feel, deserve it. Because you will not put in the extra work to stop your child from doing nonsense. But 1 or 2 of the other parents might be completely innocent in that they did their best to raise a good child, and the child still turned out bad. It happens. And now look at this huge mess. Their names are all over the internet. His school has released a statement pertaining to where things currently stand with regard to the efforts being made to get to the bottom of what actually happened that led to his death. We all know by now that the school, Sylvester Oromoni, was a student of when he met his untimely demise is Dowen College, based in Lagos. Now, Dowen College has given an update on the investigation of Sylvester's death and has revealed their next steps. I'm taking this story from the Daily Post. Dear parents and guardians, as we continue to commiserate with the entire Oromoni family, we also extend our condolences to our students, parents, staff, and indeed the entire Dowen College family on the demise of our beloved son, Sylvester. We would also like you to know that we are working together with the relevant authorities and the Oromoni family to ensure that justice is seen and served in this matter. We understand and appreciate the anxiety and support. We plan to do all that is needed to ensure that education and the future of our dear children is not mortgaged. Investigations are moving along, and we would continue to work with all the relevant authorities. 1. So far, all 5 of the children suspected have been remanded in custody, as well as the 3 hostel parents. Please note this is not an admission of guilt or wrongdoing, but part of the process. That is, they have been remanded by the police. They are in police custody. 2. The school and members of the Oromoni family have met cordially with the Commissioner of Police to discuss the matter and the way forward. 3. There will be an autopsy in Lagos, and the school will have its own pathologist present as well. We pray that following the preliminary investigations, the Ministry of Education will let us have a timeline for next term. The principal added that the Board of Governors of Dowen College is also willing to meet with representatives of parents for discussions at the appropriate time. The management noted that Dowen College is revising and strengthening its health and safety policies and procedures in order to curtail any future recurrence of similar alleged incidents. According to the statement, we will re-educate and reinforce culture and discipline and review our reporting and disciplinary procedures and sanctions for increased safety and accountability. Going forward, it will not be business as usual. We solicit for your continued prayers, patience, and understanding. However, for me, if Doane College is going to really get to the bottom of this thing, they need to find out also, these 5 that were trying to get somebody else into a cult, who got these 5 boys, who initiated them into that cult that they were trying to bring youngsters into. They need to check their teachers. They need to dig to the bottom of this and uproot that cult in their school. And whoever are the brains behind it. This story will only be partially told if it ends with, okay, the justice system has done its bit, the perpetrators have been imprisoned or penalized in whichever way they need to be penalized, and then we don't get to hear more about the cult and what is being done to pull it out from the roots in that school. Sylvester died, 5 other kids are alive, but the truth is 6 lives have been lost. Because those 5 boys, even if one comes out innocent or whatever, this story he will never live down this story. It will follow him around for the rest of his life. And impact him going forward. So 6 lives have been destroyed with this one incident. I don't know what the verdict will be pertaining to the adults that were supposed to have been supervising them in school. They say 3 of them have also been carted off. If all of them are found guilty, that would be 8 lives. No, altogether 9 lives impacted directly. Never mind the family of Sylvester and the siblings and so on. So I think it would be extremely disingenuous at this point. We're all looking for views. We're all looking for clicks. But at the end of the day, where is your humanity?